mentioned we mentioned before the tremendous wit that Rav Meir had and his creativity and ingenuity. Of course, he used that in fundraising. Listen to this. He was speaking to a person very, very far from Judaism and trying to convince him about the yeshiva, and it was going nowhere. The man said, listen, I'm secular, and my grandparents are basically secular, even with nothing to do. Why would I give to a yeshiva? So Rav Meir's at a loss, and they were speaking in German, which Rav Meir knew very well. This person had been from Germany. So finally Rav Meir said, tell me, did you ever read the Bible? He said, yeah, of course I did. Do you remember perhaps Haman? So he says, yes. So he says, well, do you think you're worse than Haman? Worse than him? Nain. Whatever I am, I'm not that. So he says, let me tell you something that the Gemara says. It says that a few great-grandsons, B'nai Banim Shel Haman, studied Torah in B'nai Brak. Somewhere down the line they converted, and a direct male descendant of Haman came to study in Eretz Yisrael Torah. So then isn't it possible that one day your grandchildren, you're not worse than Haman. Haman's great-grandchildren end up in a yeshiva, and some might yours, and then he gave him a handsome donation. Of course, sometimes, with every attempt that he had, it didn't work. He spoke to at a certain tzibur, and they told him these people are very boorish, they're amaratzim, you have to make it very, very clear to them, simple. So he said, okay, I'm going to start with something simple. So he starts the whole story of Moshe Rabbeinu, is in a teva, etc., and Baspara takes him, and could Baspara know that she was going to be saving the Moshe Shel Yisrael, that this person was one day going to be the one who saved the whole Jewish people, and look what she did. Without knowing it, look what she produced, look what she did. And today, too, someone who invests in my yeshiva, perhaps the next Chafetz Chaim will come out of, it'll be from his donations, from his efforts. Oh, see, it's a nice, simple, clear message. So he heard a father and a son talking, and the son says to the father, Papa, did he say he was in the river? That the rabbi said that he himself as a little boy was in the river. So the father said, sure, you heard him, didn't you? Right? And he got back out of that box safe and said, look, he made it here, out of the box. Well, there you see him standing before us, and he's perfectly all there, so he made it. Right? So the kid says to his father, Dad, if he could do that, so it's worth it, you should give him $10. Okay, so what's the end of all this? The third team, I think, altogether has probably gone from 16 months to 20 months, etc. I know it says, like, as we mentioned last time, it was 13 whole months in America. It's just not believable. But it was, Rav Meir Shapiro wasn't the only one. And Baruch Meir was in America, I think, for 2 years one time. Years they used to go. This is a different type of world, different type of times. But it's amazing to think the Mesiras Nefesh's dedication to go that long and that hard. Okay, so he gets back. 5 commode are built, a 6th isn't. Sometime later, he went back to fundraising, and again, he felt that he wasn't getting the help he deserved. And this time he's speaking, we're in 1929. Okay, and we're in the 3rd Knesset Gedola. The Great Assembly of Agudas Yisrael, of course, that would have been a Knesset Gedola, one of the earlier ones where he had introduced the Daf Yomi, as we mentioned earlier. So he goes into the whole thing, how the young scholars, the Bachurei Yeshiva, are languishing from hunger and need, Greek and feeble, derision, scorn. And then he started talking about how their tsar is mitzaref to his tsar. This is very interesting. Imagine someone getting up at the Gouda convention speaking like this today. He recalled what enthusiasm there was, 50,000 people, as we mentioned before, at the groundbreaking seminary. All the promises he got from communities and individuals. And today, this is an exact quote, nobody is interested anymore. It bothers nobody. It troubles nobody. But the tragedy is further. No one will help me. People hinder me. Stones are put in my way, stumbling blocks, obstacles to hamper me. And there are people who knew exactly what he was talking about. It's obviously not stated here and clear. I guess you have to get the Torah Shebaal Peh to really understand this. Why do I deserve this? For my great sin of trying to create a great mansion of Torah study? Is that why I have to suffer tribulations of exile, travel about endlessly to raise money, work alone to the point of exhaustion with no one to help me? only to find that no one will help me, and even want to stone me. They just want to eat my flesh. Those fools, those eternally obstructive, destructive fools. And yet, and then he finishes on a positive note as we will finish this session. The more I suffer for that structure, the more precious and vital it becomes to me. Right? A child would not be so important to its mother, not for the labor pain she suffers when she brings it into the world. And of course, eventually, Rav Meir's all of his efforts paid off. And in 1930, the yeshiva did open its doors, I believe. It's sad to think that by 1933, Rav Meir Shapiro himself had passed away. He only could enjoy his yeshiva for 3 years, but it went on for another, till the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, and Baruch Hashem, it's been reopened. Not exactly as yeshiva, it definitely is a place of Jewish heritage and of certain Jewish learning, as people do go there to study and learn, give shiurim, have daf yomis, etc.